The first half of the PBA Tour had a little bit of everything. First-time winners.
Patrick Healy needs 4 pins to win his first title ever.
He gets 9, and he gets his first ever championship. It took 366 career events, but he's done it. Eugene is a PBA Tour title winner. Champions returning to the winner's circle. All eyes on Dad. He needs it. He's got it for the 22nd time. This, the most dramatic and the most important, in front of his boys, Randy, a championship. Once again, Randy Peterson is a champion. A strike for the tournament champions. There it is! Unbelievable. Norm Duke, a winner again. And a bit of history. For a third straight time. It's never been done before in PBA history. We make it today. Add to that the ice in his veins consistency of Walter Ray Williams Jr. Big crowds. Right there! Weekly drama. And the competition inherent in only one can win. The PBA Tour has the makings of an incredible second half. It begins next. The second half of the PBA Tour season gets underway today in Tacoma, Washington. We are in an arena for the PBA Geico Earl Anthony Classic at the Emerald Queen Casino. Now let's meet the finalists. From Ocala, Florida, he will move back into first place in the PBA World Rankings this week with 35 career wins. Walter Ray Williams Jr. In his second year on tour, today he makes his first ever TV appearance. From New Albany, Indiana, Mike Wolfe. From Escondido, California, making his second telecast of the season. Also looking for his first career championship, Mike DeVaney. He travels under the moniker of Mr. 300 with 64 career perfect games, including 1 on TV. He has 5 career wins from Erie, Pennsylvania, Bob Learn Jr. And from Claremont, Florida, sitting 3rd in the world rankings. He won his 20th career title on Long Island this season. It's Norm Duke. Those are the 5 finalists for the 2003 PBA Geico Earl Anthony Classic at the Emerald Queen Casino. Dave Ryan alongside Randy Peterson. Welcome everyone to the second half of the season. Randy, here are the brackets.
Well, for the first time this season, Walter Ray Williams Jr. qualifies for our show as the wild card. He takes on Mike Wolfe in the first match. Norm Duke will await the winner. In the other semifinal match, Bob Learn Jr. battles Mike DeVaney.
So Mike Wolfe, Randy, makes his PBA TV appearance debut in an arena setting against none other than Walter Ray Williams Jr. We spoke with Mike a few moments ago. He said, I'm just going to forget all the nerves, even though he's sort of shaking when he talked to us about it.
Yeah, I can't tell you what's going through Mike Wolfe's mind right now. Obviously, there's a lot of nerves, a lot of emotion. You have to face this guy. Welcome to another installment of As the Ball Rolls, starring Walter Ray Williams Jr.
Guy they call Deadeye, underway in Tacoma. And coming in through the nose, not the start he wanted.
And not the start you expect from Walter Ray.
Yesterday,
You got to get the ball to the right side of the 3-pin to slide it into the 4-7. Walter Ray's going to go to a spare ball.
Trying to trip them all out, will not get there. So an open frame earlier for Walter Ray Williams Jr. For a guy like Mike Wolfe, who told us before the match today, Randy, what he wanted to do is just have a good start. New Albany, Indiana, near Louisville, Kentucky, only 10 miles from that city. So does most of his league bowling and started at the age of 5. Bowling in Louisville. His first ever shot on TV, not what he wanted.
Watched a little bit of Mike Wolfe's practice, and that right lane seemed to give him a little bit of trouble. It seemed to hang down the lane. That shot certainly did. Got to get the ball to the left side of the head pin.
Chips it out. Great spare for Mike Wolfe. High the numbers this week. Head-to-head, you see more games bowled from Wolfe. The strike percentage considerably less than Walter Ray, but his spare conversion number is higher, Randy. That's why he is in the TV show today.
Yeah, and that also keeps you in tough matches. If you can't strike, you got to make sure that you're leaving yourself stuff that you can make. Mike Wolfe did that.
Just picked up a very tough spare a moment ago. His first strike on TV comes right now.
Yeah, making that washout the first frame and then coming back with a strike in the second. It's really got to help the nerves for Mike Wolfe.
He told us a few moments ago, before this match today, if you had a good start, a couple of early marks, you would feel a lot better about things. Walter Ray telling some fans to his right to please sit down, settle down, so he's not distracted. Remember what happened with him in Albany, where a fan actually flashed a picture upon his delivery and caused an open frame. He lost that match to Chris Barnes. Here he's got a strike after the open frame to start his match.
Walter Ray, five-step approach, low backswing. He's always had that very high follow-through. Keeps his hand underneath it. Rolls to the 10 out, and he likes that. You know, Walter Ray goes through a lot of what Tiger Woods does on the PGA Tour. The fans, the picture taking in his approach. Everybody always wants to get a piece of Walter Ray. And why not? They see this guy just about every other week on our telecast.
Sixth TV show of this season. Has won championship. That was in Detroit. Looking for another strike. Finds the pocket on lane 3. Lanes 3 and 4. The 4 arena setting lanes here, set up by the good folks from VIA, the Chinese synthetic lane company. Done a great job with our arena setting so far this year. One in Albany, of course, of the Mohegan Sun. The Tournament of Champions won by Jason Couch on December 15th. And here we are to begin the new year, also in an arena setting. It's Wolfe. Double wood 2-8 for him.
Again, having trouble getting that ball to hook up on that lane still. It's still early. Cover the 2-8. Got to get the ball to cover both pins. The easiest way to do this is what Mike Wolfe already possesses, the big hook, and get that ball to hook into the 2-8 and cover both pins with the bowling ball. Talked to Mike Wolfe's roommate last night, Chris Sand. He's telling me a little bit about some of the pranks that Mike Wolfe likes to pull. I guess on New Year's Eve, they went to a little New Year's Eve celebration. Chris left early. Mike stayed late, in fact, till closing, and decided to walk down Pacific Avenue, which is one of the main streets here in Tacoma, with about 150 balloons. Chris Sand wakes up the next morning, there's 150 balloons above his bed.
In the room.
Just imagine Mike Wolfe walking down Pacific Avenue with 150 balloons at about 2 in the morning.
Unusual sight. On lane 3, trying to find the pocket, will not get there.
This ball actually loses energy as it's going down the lane. Now watch this, the deep inside line right around between the 3rd and 4th air. Now watch it start to go left, and then it just stops. That's caused by the ball actually rolling out. Too much friction being created. The ball loses energy, and there's an unforced error.
Another open frame, one for each now in this wild card match.
And one of the toughest things to do, especially your first time on TV, is to make good shots when you don't have a very good ball reaction. And right now, early on, it doesn't look like Mike Wolfe has a very good ball reaction.
Good look right behind Walter Ray. Through. He's in the pocket on lane 4 with a strike. Appears to have regained the confidence after his open frame to begin this match. Walter Ray Williams Jr., the march to the PBA World Championship. The top 8 get to the round of 16 in Taylor, Michigan at the Sportsplex there. Also arena settings. That is updated. Those points we saw a moment ago up until this championship day. And that's what Walter Ray or the winner will take home. 25,000 points. Trying to become the player of the year again. And a 10-pin.
Yeah, and there's the difference between a veteran who's been on television 138 times and a guy that's been on TV the first time. First ball, Walter Ray goes through the nose, leaves that ugly split. The next two shots on the left lane, he makes the proper adjustment, goes strike, and then big ring and 10 there.
5-time PBA Player of the Year. His big goal, as told us all year, is to return to that very high honor as he tries to catch Earl Anthony's record of 6 PBA Player of the Year awards, up to 35 titles. As Walter Ray Williams Jr., the legendary Earl Anthony, 41, the all-time record.
I asked Walter Ray how his new motorhome was doing. He said, not bad, except that now he can drive and watch TV at the same time.
That's more dangerous than a cell phone, I think. Late attempt to trip out the 10 with a messenger across the deck for Wolfe. Incredible numbers produced by each. The late great Earl Anthony. This tournament named after him and his legendary status. Some of his family members are here today. Strike for Wolfe. Earlier in this match, there he's got a spare. Able to strike in the second frame. Got great camera angles for you here in the arena setting in Tacoma. See his wide approach all the way to our right from the pin deck. How about that approach to the foul line for him?
Well, that was a pretty good shot there. Leaves a solid 9. Ball's going to go right by the 9 pin. We'll get more into Mike Wolfe's style when we do our Dexter approach.
Raises up the single pin conversion number. First ever TV appearance for him. One open frame, but the same went for Walter Ray Williams Jr. Right now, Wolfe down by 23 pins. His first ever appearance on TV against the legend, a Hall of Famer, Walter Ray Williams Jr. The wild card continues next. This event started at Pacific Lanes in Tacoma, hosting the qualifying and match play for the best of 7 round of 32 with a round of 16 and round of 8. Here at the Emerald Queen Casino in Tacoma. Welcome everyone, Dave Ryan and Randy Peterson. We start our winter segment of the PBA Tour, and this name for Earl Anthony. We have the lapel pins today for the bowler of the century, certainly honoring him. Balance of the PBA Tour is something you really want to talk about today, Randy. A lot of parity and a chance for Mike Wolfe to make some noise today.
Yeah, well, you know, I think the talent pool's certainly gotten a lot deeper on the PBA Tour. Mike Wolfe's here. You know, Mike DeVaney's making his 3rd telecast, but the guys that are still winning are still the veterans.
Well, and the veterans, Walter Ray Williams Jr., continuing to do well. 6th TV show of the year comes today. Oil pattern is B, Randy Peterson.
Oil pattern B, we saw it in Memphis, and we saw it in Albany. 43 feet. Now at Pacific Lanes, it was a different type of synthetic wood. The players had to play the deep inside line. They had to be very soft and very slow. However, here in the arena, it's a different type of synthetic. It's much softer, much more porous. You might even see Norm Duke playing the way outside line. Walter Ray Williams Jr. around in here. The big guys that still throw the big hook are going to be playing here. Multiple angles on this softer, more porous synthetic.
So different synthetic. We can talk about that and read about that at PBA.com on the web. 23-pin lead for Walter Ray Williams Jr. working on a spare. And remember, the oil pattern much longer at the Tournament of Champions, the last competition these bowlers had in December, a 50-foot pattern. So it's a change this week, and Walter Ray appears to be adjusting quite well.
Walter Ray, soft speed, a little hand rotation to get the ball to change direction. Walter Ray, week in and week out, just continues to beat up on people. He's amazing that it just never seems like he makes bad shots, especially on TV. However, after being on television 138 times, there's not that nerve factor that you have to throw in there. He's just solid. Yeah!
A 115 and 100 career record on TV, and the 35 career titles. A double for him as he strikes in the 6th and 7th. Now has a 33-pin lead on Mike Wolfe.
And this is a lane that's really given Mike a lot of trouble. See what kind of adjustment he makes here.
Not enough of one. Not getting the reaction he wants
pick it
at
up
all.
again. Well, you know, that's obviously not the same reaction you had all week. You have 5 players on one pair of lanes practicing a half an hour prior to the telecast, and depending on where they're throwing bowling balls can really affect, as he makes it again, it can really affect the way the lanes break down. All of a sudden, Mike Wolfe has hang to the right that he hasn't had all week long. I guess when you shoot it 4 times a game, you're supposed to make it. Get a lot of practice at that. You can see what he's done. No strikes left on the right lane, and only 1 strike on the left lane, and that just won't get it done against Walter Ray.
Lane 3 had a hurry to the pocket. That's the late trip and a strike for Mike Wolfe.
This is the trip too, and the amazing thing about it is, as much ball as Mike Wolfe throws, as strong as his ball rotates, all those revs, that high-powered ball, that ball's not hooking down the lane. Walter Ray, softer speed, softer hand, he's getting his ball to turn over.
Trying to go up 47 pins with a strike here. 10 down in the pit. A triple for Walter Ray in the 6th, 7th, and 8th frames.
When you start seeing stuff like this happen, you know things are going your way. Talk about having your best friend with you. Watch the 10. Hello.
Hard to believe this is Walter Ray's first appearance of the year as a wild card on TV. He's been that consistent. I talked to him last night about it. He said, doesn't matter. I mean, the show, it absolutely does not matter. Or the early start time. We're a 12:30 start here on ESPN for the second half of the season. Every week, lock us in, except for the Las Vegas show. Lone except that's 9:30 in the morning on the West Coast, so the bowlers had to be here at 7:30 a.m. local time. And I asked a lot of guys that last night, do you worry about the early start? Not at all, as long as I'm bowling well.
Well, you got all that adrenaline going from the night before, knowing that you've got a shot at winning $40,000 and a title. The only thing that happens is you don't sleep very well the night before, but once you get here and you get to practice and the adrenaline kicks in and you're ready to go.
Mike Wolfe down 46 pins. Talked to him today about facing the legend. He said, well, he's just another bowler. I've got to look at it that way. Controlling his own destiny, but just can't get in the groove at all, especially on lane 4. Top split.
See, and that's the deal. I mean, Mike just said it perfectly. He gets it right, it hangs. So the only thing you can do from there is straighten your angle out a little bit. As soon as he does that, it goes right through the nose.
Continually coming in high at lane 4, and another open frame for him. Said he had at least 20 messages on his cell phone after he made the TV show. A lot of his family and friends and bowling fans follow the action on PBA.com.
Yeah, and don't be fooled by this performance. This guy can bowl. I mean, he's a really, really good player, and he's going to be a star out on this tour.
This match is over. Walter Ray will advance on to the semifinals, so we'll fast track it just to quickly finish up since Mike has a maximum of 178. Walter Ray at 236 max. Another strike for him, and he will take on fellow legend Norm Duke in the semis. Still a great experience for Mike Wolfe, who said, hey, even if I lose to Walter Ray, he's just having so much trouble with splits today. This one on lane 3. Even if I lose, making the show will earn some respect for me with fellow bowlers and the bowling community.
Well, I think more than anything, it helps his confidence. He knows that he can play with the big boys out here, and it's a tribute to his ability.
So quickly we'll finish up, and Mike Wolfe, first ever TV appearance from New Albany, Indiana, falls to the legend Walter Ray Williams Jr., who's got one more ball to throw, and then he'll officially clinch a semifinal appearance against Norm Duke. In search of his 36th career title, chasing the late legend Earl Anthony's 41 championships. 236 to 167, an easy win for Walter Ray Williams Jr. So he's got one semifinal matchup against Duke. The other is going to be Mike DeVaney in search of his first career title against Bob Learn Jr., Mr. 300. In the 1974 Tournament of Champions, Earl Anthony won the first of his 2 TOC titles. His other came in 1978. He found the winner's circle by winning 3 games that day, with a title match coming over Johnny Petraglia by only 3 pins. The legendary Earl Anthony being honored. His name part of this event here in Tacoma, Washington. We're back at the Emerald Queen Casino. Now let's find out how the 2 semifinalists got here, DeVaney and Learn. In the round of 16 here in Tacoma, Mike DeVaney took on Tommy DeLuce Jr. going to beat Tommy 3 games to 1. So he moved on to the round of 8, where he meet and beat Walter Ray Williams Jr. 3 games to none, with a 3-game series of 8-0-7. Tremendous bowling by DeVaney. Bob Learn Jr. took on Brian Kretzer in the round of 16, a match that went 5 games, with Bob Learn Jr. advancing to the round of 8, where he took on fellow Erie, Pennsylvania native Mike Machuga, needing only 3 games to advance past Machuga and onto our telecast. So Bob Learn Jr., a big factor with you, as you talked about last night, was the ball change. You made a company switch. How much has that helped you in getting yourself to the championship round?
Well, I've had a good ball reaction with these new balls, and I'm bowling good, so confidence factor's way up, and I'm ready to keep going.
How about the experience you've had before in winning some tournaments? You have a lot of titles. How do you apply that to a big match today when you haven't won for about a year?
Well, you just got to reflect on the good memories, you know, the things that you can reflect on positively, and that's what I'm going to do.
All right, Randy, going for career title number 6, Bob Learn Jr.
Thanks.
Bob Learn, no stranger to arena finals in Erie, Pennsylvania in 1996. I was the tournament leader. Bob averaged about 280 with a 300 game, and then shot 279 against me to run away with that tournament. Bob, a little unusual start. He has that one-handed starting position. Keeps his right hand on it only, left hand just kind of hanging to his side. And what a great start for Bob. Nice to see him bowling good again. It's amazing what confidence does for you.
So now it's Mike DeVaney, just outside San Diego, California. Just turned 30 years old. Few days back. Good start for Mike DeVaney on New Year's Eve. He hit the big 3-0. By the numbers this week, the average is pretty close. DeVaney had a tremendous match with Walter Ray Williams Jr. in the round of 8 as he blew him out in 3 straight. As we saw spare conversion numbers. Nice advantage for DeVaney as well.
Yeah, you know, we talked about it on the on-camera, the talent pool. And Mike DeVaney goes up against Walter Ray last night, and I mean, just stomped him. 8-0-7, went 3-0, just blew him out of the water.
There's 1-0 in his career. Head-to-head with Bob Learn Jr. and a 244 average for Mike DeVaney. And he continues his very effective play on the TV pair. Arena setting here in Tacoma.
Mike DeVaney is much further left than any of our other players are going to be, but he gets away with it because of his axis tilt, because of how far around the side of the bowling ball he gets his hand.
Yeah.
Bob Learn Jr. coaxing the ball into the pocket.
Bob Learn Jr. from the state of Pennsylvania, and we have to send our condolences to another person from the Keystone State. Dan Gluss died unexpectedly on December 10th in Pittsburgh at the age of 64. Dan was the executive director of the Bowling Writers Association of America, longtime friend of the PBA. I did numerous radio shows with Dan.
Yeah, baby.
He's survived by his wife, Fritzy, his sons, Dan Jr. and Dean, and his daughter, Dion. Dan was a friend not only of mine, but of many of the players out on tour. Dan, we're going to miss you.
Great start for Bob Learn Jr. with a triple. Like DeVaney trying for the same thing to even this semifinal matchup. Also made the TV show in Chicago. Did not win a championship there. What a start for each. On lane 4, he's been effective. What kind of things are Mike DeVaney doing better than Mike Wolfe did in the wild card match on that lane?
Well, Mike DeVaney's got a lot more axis rotation with his hand. He gets around the side of it more, so he can get the ball to change direction harder down the lane. He can get that thing to suck up in the back end where Mike Wolfe's ball was pushing right through it.
Also, a brand new ball contract.
Brand new ball contract for him as well. Two guys going head to head. New equipment in their hands.
He's now a Storm. He was a free agent before. And he's in the pocket perfectly one more time. A 4-bagger for DeVaney to start off his semifinal match. Bob Learn Jr. trying for the same thing. PBA Tour starting off its second half of the season from Tacoma. We have Randy Peterson, entire ESPN PBA crew, live coverage.
Hit it. Yeah.
As the March to the World Championship continues. And what a start as well for Learn Jr. Each bowler perfect in this semifinal.
Bob Learn playing the right lane a little bit different than he's playing the left. A little bit further right on that lane. Same type of result.
Bob tells us he absolutely loves the arena setting. All-time money leader in arena shows. Over 200,000 won. This comes in high, though. Didn't like it.
Well, he didn't give that.
Got to get through it.
Didn't give that one a chance. He said, you hear a player say you got to get through it. That usually means they cut it off at the bottom of the swing. And when you do that, two things happen. The ball doesn't go far enough right, and it hooks early. Not a good combination when you got to get the ball to the right side of the head pin.
Picks up a mark. First non-strike of the match for either bowler. And DeVaney has a 2-pin lead.
You know, you were talking about the company change or the contract with Mike DeVaney. I talked to Chris Schlimmer, the Storm rep, works with all the Storm guys and not only coaching but equipment as well. He said that Mike DeVaney had the same look he had against Walter Ray last night.
Certainly a great start for him. Leaves a 10-pin as he went for a 5-bagger to start his match off. Tells us he really learned a lot from making that TV appearance earlier this year in Chicago. Now feels he's going to take the offensive end. He wants to be aggressive. No one can stop him as long as he's controlling his own destiny with his shot making. And he's very confident with the ball reaction. I think the total package really coming together for Mike this week.
Yeah, I think you're absolutely right. And I think the other big ingredient is that he's just getting smarter. He's a much more intelligent player now. He understands his strengths, his weaknesses, and he utilizes that to his advantage now.
On lane 3. 60 feet to success for Mike DeVaney from Southern California. Strikes in 5 of his 6 frames to begin the match with Bob Learn Jr. We're in the semifinals, and DeVaney's got a 1-pin lead. Mike looking for his first career championship in Tacoma today. Mount Rainier, some 2.5 hours from where we are in Tacoma. Incredible scenery in the great Northwest. Some of the most beautiful sights anywhere in North America, or the world for that matter. Days in on the road next week to Medford and Lava Lanes. And then we've got another major, the ABC Masters in Reno, all leading up to the PBA World Championship. The Taylor Sportsplex Arena setting in Taylor, Michigan, suburban Detroit for the World Championship. Regionals in Rochelle, Illinois for the seniors. Same goes for Sarasota, Florida in the Midwest and South region. Days in on the road.
Was that a typo? Rip Van Winkle lanes for the seniors? That's not right, is it?
We'll look into that for you.
Okay,
Someone's
thanks.
on that immediately.
I got 10 more years.
Learn on lane 4. Comes in hot.
Out of a commercial, Bob. Jeez.
That right lane was trouble for Mike Wolfe. Looks like it's a little bit of trouble for Bob Learn, playing 2 different lines for a reason, because his ball reaction's not the same on that lane. The reason why it's the same for Mike DeVaney is he does something different than any of the other players.
All right.
Bobby Learn, 5-step approach, watch his hand more under it. which gets the ball rolling. We'll watch Mike DeVaney at the bottom of the swing. Watch this hand rotate around the side.
Working on a spare down by 4 pins.
Yeah. You want more back-end reaction, you got to get the hand to snap around the side. If you want less change of direction down the lane, you keep your hand underneath it. But don't confuse that with overall hook. You can still create a tremendous amount of hook by keeping your hand underneath it and rolling it. It's just the change of direction we're talking about down the lane.
Pinning for a 14-pin lead. On lane 4, 10 down in the pin. Flush in the pocket for Mike DeVaney.
One of the things that I like about getting your hand on the side of the ball is it does something to the 6-pin. Watch the 6-pin just cave in the 10. You saw Walter Ray's late 10, you know, that 10-pin falling real slow. The difference between the hand on the side and the hand underneath is just that. That 6-pin there just sucked the 10 right off the deck.
So Patrick Allen, Mika Koivuniemi all fair, round of 32. Other bowlers in action here in Tacoma this week.
Mike Wolfe's roommate there, Chris Sand.
In the pocket again. DeVaney on fire. With a triple now, 6, 7, and 8. Just one non-strike frame for him in the first 8. 7 of 8 strikes. That in the 5th, where he had his spare. So Learn
Bob
just felt it come in high again in the big 4 up.
He can do that. Nice shot.
Both shots on the right lane, left of target. Bob pays the ultimate penalty, the big 4. Or, in your old line of work, the hockey player's teeth.
Always 4-7 stands, so an open frame for Bob Learn Jr., who is in a heap of trouble the way Mike DeVaney has been bowling.
Mike DeVaney can strike out for 279. The best Bob Learn can do is 231. But you know what? This is going to be a good thing for Bob to build on.
There's a good one.
He knows his ability's still there. It was just a matter of getting the right equipment. You know, it's like asking an auto racer who won a driving title the year before, well, listen, this year you got to use the same equipment. You know, technology is always changing, equipment's always getting better, but you know what, when the equipment gets better and stronger, they make oil that comes out that's thicker, higher viscosity to combat the stronger equipment.
Constantly challenging the bowlers like Bob Learn Jr. Talking to himself at this point. It's been a tough matchup with Mike DeVaney. Back home, wife Stacy is watching Bob in action. Son Brandon lives in State College, Pennsylvania, works just outside the Penn State campus. Daughter Brittany, 14 years old. Quite a soccer player, we understand, but dad is having trouble with this great bowler in Mike DeVaney. The Emerald Queen, we saw the riverboat with 4 decks, 45,000 square feet of entertainment space. The arena sits up to 2,000 people, 650 today for bowling. There are the brackets. So far, DeVaney is in the championship match. Duke or Williams Jr. will be the other. Let's go down to the Miller High Life, get to know them with Bob Learn Jr.
Bob Learn Jr. We get up in the morning, we go to Starbucks, get the day started right with a double tall latte. And it's kind of a lifestyle. We go there daily as often as we can. Greatest televised moment on tour has to be the 1996 flagship open in my hometown. I shot 300 on TV, went and broke all the records. It was a dream day. Shooting a 300 game, I mean, that's the ultimate. There's not a better feeling when you get up in the 10th and you know you need 3. You just, bang them out one at a time. It's euphoric and it never gets old. Then my wife, she cut my hair at a beauty salon. I looked up as she was washing my hair and said, she's beautiful. Happiest moment in my life, my birth of my children. My focus is probably the best part of my game. That's really been one of my strengths. I love the game. I'm so passionate about the game, and it's something I want to be involved with the rest of my life.
Bob Learn Jr., part of our Miller High Life, get to know them. Legendary Earl Anthony, honored as part of this tournament. His widow Susie and son Mike here today to enjoy the great bowling action. It's the Geico Earl Anthony Classic at Emerald Queen in Tacoma, Washington. They will watch the legend Norm Duke take on Walter Ray Williams Jr. Another semifinal next. The Emerald Queen Casino in Tacoma, Washington. Third arena show of the year. After Albany and the Tournament of Champions in Uncasville, Connecticut, and the Mohegan Sun, we are now in the Great Northwest. Let's find out how Norm Duke and Walter Ray Williams got here to the semifinals. Walter Ray Williams Jr. beat out Jess Stayrook in the round of 16. To take on Mike DeVaney in the round of 8, he lose 3 straight games to DeVaney, but still a good match play record, qualifying as our wild card today. Norm Duke took on Jimmy Johnson in the round of 16. That match was a full 5 games, with Duke advancing in the round of 8. Then he took on and took out the Powerball throwing Robert Smith. Once again, the full 5 games to advance to our television show. The winner on Long Island looking for a win today in Washington.
Normie, you accomplished what you set out to do in the beginning of the season, getting back to the Tournament of Champions. What are your goals for 2003, Pops?
You know, that's a good question. I'm still thinking about Player of the Year, Randy. I mean, I've got a title. No one else has 2. The only thing is, my opponent, he's the guy we're all chasing. So I'm either going to catch up a little or give more ground away.
What do you think you have to do today to win?
Well, I'm going to have to put up a big number. I saw him just shoot 230. I don't think that he was comfortable yet. I'm looking for probably 240 or 50 out of him, so a lot of strikes.
Thanks, Norm. Good luck. Well, Dave Ryan, you heard Norm say it. Nobody else has 2. Looking to become the first player to win 2 titles this season.
Walter Ray Williams Jr. has done very well against Norm Duke on TV. However, in title matches, a different story. This a semifinal match. The winner takes on Mike DeVaney. Walter Ray appearing pretty easy about having to go through the wild card route, at least in his first match, and we'll see how prophetic the words from Norm Duke were. He said, hey, Walter Ray bowled all right in his wild card win over Mike Wolfe, but didn't appear fully comfortable. So there's more of a ceiling there for Walter Ray's talents.
Yeah, and I think there was also a reference to the right lane. And like we saw in the last match, the only person that didn't have trouble with the right lane, Mike DeVaney. I watched Norm in practice prior to the interview, and Norm was very suspect on the right lane.
A mark for Walter Ray to start off this semifinal match. His 21st year on the PBA Tour. Won his 20th title at the Cambridge Credit Classic with your roommate, Dave Traber, and a very exciting roll-off that went to 3 balls before someone was declared the winner, and that was Norm Duke. Well, 4 more games than Walter Ray so far this week. 2 different centers, they'll remember. They bowled at Pacific Lanes in Tacoma and then got here to the arena setting for the round of 16.
Well, a little bit higher strike percent or average for Norm Duke, but lower strike percentage. And right now, you're getting an early dose of what makes Norm Duke so good. 2 different bowling balls, same line, the extreme outside line. Again, another part of the lane that nobody else is playing. And this would be a real interesting thing to see. Well, that was a tough word. You see one guy playing way in, another guy piping it from outside.
Each having similar success. A strike for Walter Ray, his first of this semifinal match after a spare in his first frame.
That's what makes these guys so good, though. I mean, they can play anywhere on the lane. You ask Norm Duke, Norm, where do you like to play? He says, I like to lay my ball down on an area on the lane that gives my ball the best chance to strike, no matter where it is.
Thanks to Walter Ray, the wild card players now 13-13 in matches this year. Saw it on ESPN in sync on lane 3, leaves the 7th.
Wow. I watched him do it in practice. The left lane was laboring. The ball was having trouble getting up into the 1-3 pocket. Problem is, if he moves a little bit right, the ball wants to hook early and go high.
Wild card players have made the title match 7 times. They've got a 4-3 record. So if you're looking ahead to a victory over Norm Duke, just over 500 are those wild card bowlers. so far this year have been 2 wild card winners. Dave DeAntremont in Wichita, Doug Kent in Albany. Last year, Robert Smith and Tommy DeLutz Jr. won as wild cards. Forever in history since the new format came in. We are headed to Medford, Oregon, home of Marshall Holman. Next Sunday, 12:30 Eastern Time, 9:30 here on the West Coast. PBA Bowling Tour continues the march for the World Championship in Taylor, Michigan. That's a big event for a couple of tournaments in Nevada, Reno, and Vegas. We're starting at 12:30 Eastern, 9:30 here on the West Coast, 11:30 Central Time for the rest of this season. So mark that down if you have your TiVo and VCR set. Norm Duke, perfect on lane 4.
You know, it just never ceases to amaze me, or anybody else for that matter, what this guy can do. Now, all week long at Pacific Lanes, Norm Duke hooked the entire lane. Similar to what Mike DeVaney did the match before. Right now, you see him throwing it straight. 2 different bowling balls, the extreme outside edge.
All the way along the channel, all the way into the pocket. 10 more in the pit as he wipes them off the deck.
Walter Ray around the 3rd arrow. Kind of hard to see. His back was in the way, but trust me, that was around the 3rd arrow. Norm is outside 1st arrow. 1, 2, 3 board.
Walter Ray gets a nice break. Another strike for him in front of his wife, Paige Pennington. Walter Ray told us last night it was a 6-day trip in the motorhome from their home in Florida. They went to California to see some family and friends, then came up the Oregon coast up to Seattle. He said Paige was gripping onto the dashboard some white knuckle rides on some pretty crazy mountainous roads up here.
Yeah, he decided to take the coastal route. But
Yeah.
he also said that he drove through the town he grew up in California.
Great.
Eureka.
He struck gold on lane 3.
They won't,
Another strike.
excuse me, Dave. They won't allow me back into the town that I grew up in. So I kind of live that vicariously through Walter. But take a look here. Walter's fine-tuning his ball reaction on the left lane, catches the double. But Norm Duke is perfect. Through 4, taking a re-rack on the right lane.
As usual, Walter Ray relaxed. It is pretty tough to ruffle his feathers. That's what all the other bowlers we talked to who made the show today are just so amazed by his consistency. He has the 1 championship. As Norm mentioned, no one has won 2. He's bidding to become the first on tour this year to do that. They are absolutely floored by how consistent Walter Ray has been. Norm Duke not far behind, trips out the 7.
Well, and that's what happens when you put a good touch on a bowling ball when you're not pinching it or grabbing it at the bottom. You get good carry. Norm chipping out the 4-7-10. Catches a good piece of the head pin. 4-7-10 the last to go. When you're pinching it off and grabbing it at the bottom of the swing, you leave the 4-7-10 split. But it's clean out of your hand like it is when Norm Duke's letting go of it. You strike when you do that.
And strike he has. A 5-bagger to begin his match. Strike here for a 40-pin lead. To the 6th. Another. What a start from Norm Duke. 6 straight strikes and a 40-pin lead on fellow legend Walter Ray Williams Jr. Each trying to win his respective 2nd title this PBA Tour season. Lots of emotion here at Tacoma today. Tour event here in Tacoma featuring 60 total titles in our final 5. 35 of those from Walter Ray Williams Jr., 20 from Norm Duke, 7 combined majors amongst the finalists. Randy, let's check in now with a Dexter approach.
My Dexter approach guy this week, Mike Wolfe, prototypical power player on the PBA Tour, the outside-in arm swing. But how he makes it work is this. Watch the 2nd step. It's going to the left. In the old days, we used to walk to the right. Not today. 3rd step goes left. Hips are completely open. The big power thing at the bottom of the swing. But look at this. Look how low that right shoulder is. That's what helps to get the ball to feed to the right.
This week's Dexter approach, and what a week for Mike Wolfe. TV debut for him. Mike Wolfe told us he was talking to Walter Ray. What is this, your 1,000th, 1,000,000th TV appearance? I mean, it's incredible to a lot of the fellow bowlers how rock solid Walter Ray has been in terms of just getting there week in and week out. Lane 4, look out, little trouble, comes in high.
You know, Walter Ray is on TV more than old reruns of the Munsters, but right now he's looking at the 3-6-7-10 split. Got to get the ball over into here, throw that 3-pin into the 7, the ball will take out the 6-10.
Doesn't want it open now in this match. Spraying it across the deck, but misses the 7-pin, so an open frame against the red-hot Norm Duke, who has 6 straight strikes to begin his match.
And just left a big ugly split on his good lane. And somebody that just watched him shoot that split would wonder why he didn't throw a hook ball at that.
There's the pocket.
Excuse me, Dave. Why wouldn't you throw a hook ball and have that hook into the 3-pin instead of that straight ball? Well, the conditions that we've been bowling on tour, the 3-6-10, the 3-6-9-10, that split are probably the toughest spares we shoot at, because if you get the ball a little bit too far to the right, it falls into the gutter. There's so much oil to the right side, it falls in. A little bit to the left, it hooks by it. So guys are now resorting to throwing their spare balls at that.
You heard the Duke, as he really has won over this crowd in Tacoma, and he delivers with a 7th straight strike and a 66-pin lead on Walter Ray.
And here's a guy that's taking a spare ball release, throwing a very, very strong rolly ball and making it look silly easy. But you know what? The one thing you got to look at and remember, his margin for error to the right is nil. One or two board miss to the right, it's 0.
He has 34 career PBA 300 games. He's on his way, this time on TV. 8 in a row.
Wow.
Yeah, why not?
The light hit the swish zone, slaps the head pin silly. 10-pin the last to fall. What a huge break. Norm knew he got that one a little bit fast down the lane. Still found a way to get home.
Walter Ray on lane 4. Finds the pocket. Norm Duke has his last 300 game, the year 2000 in Indianapolis. This event named for the late, great Earl Anthony. Look at the numbers. First all-time in so many of the key stats. Now, the earnings are different, of course, because bowlers earn quite a bit more money now than they used to in his era. Walter Ray Williams Jr. still in pursuit. Norm Duke trying to move up the list as well. He's got a huge edge today.
If Earl was bowling today, that career earnings number would be close to $3 million.
Scout across the deck, and Walter Ray can't believe it didn't trip the 10.
But in terms of 41 career titles and 10 majors, it's just phenomenal stat. Walter Ray 36 titles, so he only has 3 majors. One thing that really stands out, though, is the 138 telecasts that Wolfe has made, 30-some more than anybody else.
Lots of drama here. Now, this is another reset for Norm Duke. He's clinched this match already. He'll take on DeVaney in the championship. And he's got a chance for his first ever career TV 300 game. Looking for 9 in a row. You bet.
Let's not forget a $10,000 bonus for shooting 300. It's about the only thing that Norm Duke hasn't done in his career. Wow, is that ball perfect? We like to use the term dead flush. 3 strikes away from perfection.
And his 35th career 300 game. Strikes in the foundation. ESPN Instinct shows you. Woo! Another one! Needs 2 more.
Come down.
There have been 14 on TV. Will we see our 15th today? 2 shots shy of that. The last was Mike Miller, June 20th of '99 in Reno against Danny Wiseman. make history today in Tacoma. Is it his? Yes! $10,000 bonus in the semifinals. A 300 game for Norm Duke.
Unbelievable.
Oh, she's trying to finish. You mind if I sit over here?
Norm Duke forgot for a second of the excitement that Walter Ray's got to finish this match. Somehow Norm has got to come down from the elation of
Hey,
a
Norm, get a real
game
job.
in the semis and take on DeVaney in the championship. What a moment today in Tacoma.
Hey, don't steal his light now, Walter Ray. You know, I shouldn't say unbelievable because there's nothing that Norm Duke does that surprises me or anybody else.
Hey, Randy, do you know who has 300s thrown at him on TV?
Something about 300s thrown against him?
Gotta look that stat up, Walter. Thanks for the interaction and the question. Trips out the center pin on lane 4. That's for a triple to finish, but the man taking center stage now is Norm Duke. Now he's got to calm down.
Walter was referring to Johnny Petraglia when he bowled 300 against Walter Ray. That was for 100,000. Norm Duke does it against Walter Ray. Hey, if you're going to do it again, look at Walter's. Hey, there you go, Walter. You should have been out. You should have been out there the whole time.
Perfect 300 game for Norm Duke in the semifinals. Sends this huge crowd in Tacoma into a frenzy. They are screaming Duke, Duke for Norm Duke.
Thank you, man.
Gets his 35th career 300 game, the first time he's ever done it on TV. Earns an extra $10,000 in the semis today. Emerald Queen Casino in Tacoma, Washington has a riverboat with 4 decks and 45,000 square feet of entertainment, a nightclub for comedy, dancing, and live music. In the arena setting, we got some 700 fans who absolutely went crazy for Norm Duke moments ago. We're going to the Medford Open next week. Lava Lane's the second straight year that the PBA has been to Southern Oregon. Lava Lane's only 2 years old. Looking forward to seeing that 40-lane center. That's next week on ESPN at 12:30 Eastern Time. Dave Ryan, Randy Peterson, have you settled down from the drama of a moment ago? How does Norm Duke possibly do that now and get himself level-headed for the championship against Mike DeVaney?
That's a good question. He's got to get composed because he's going against a guy that bowled a pretty good game himself. And I think the thing you got to watch for in this match, Mike DeVaney playing the big inside hook, Norm Duke piping it from out. It's going to be a great match.
All right, let's check in now. Geico Direct Championship recap to see how we got to this point. Thrilling action all day long, Randy.
In our first wild card match, Walter Ray Williams Jr. defeated Mike Wolfe 236-167. And in semifinal number 1, Mike DeVaney playing the deep inside line, taking care of Bob Learn Jr. 258-211. Semifinal number 2, you just saw it. Perfection for Norm Duke. 300.
That's It's our Geico Direct Championship recap. So we will hear from Norm Duke in a few moments. Can he settle himself down emotionally after getting the third 300 game on TV against the legendary Walter Ray Williams Jr.? Mike DeVaney continues his quest for his first ever PBA title against Norm Duke, who's won 20 of them. The 1983 PBA National Championship was the last of Earl Anthony's record 6 wins in this event. Incredibly, twice he would three-peat in this tournament. The 1983 PBA National Championship, not only Earl's last major title, the last of his record 41 victories. Now with our finalists, Norm Duke and Mike DeVaney. Mike, we'll start with you. Does it affect your approach at all, knowing that your opponent in the championship match, in a bid for your first ever title, just rolled a 300 game? Any different approach now?
Well, it's pretty impressive what he just did out there, 12 in a row. What are you going to do? You know, but the best thing about our game is what I told you earlier today. There's no defense. He can't stop me. No matter what he wants to do, he can have as much offense as he has. He's going to need it all.
So your confidence level is as high as it ever was?
As high as it ever was.
Good luck to you.
Thank you.
How in the world, Norm Duke, do you come down emotionally from the 300 game? You got one more match to go.
Yeah, I had similar circumstances, and always the letdown is just brutal. And that's the one thing I'm telling myself right now. Just got to get as charged up as I was and keep firing the heat.
Good to get that extra $10,000, though.
Thank you.
He's awfully pumped, Randy. Ready to go for a 21st career title potentially today.
I think the most impressive thing about the 300, 2 things. Where he was playing on the lane, the extreme outside line, and he used 2 different bowling balls. Mike DeVaney looking for his first win. You heard him say it. His confidence is real high, and it should be. He's going to surpass last year's earnings, regardless if he wins or loses. DeVaney had a great ball reaction in his first match, playing the deep inside line. You couldn't get 2 bigger opposites.
Great start, DeVaney.
Getting back to the 300 that Norm Duke shot, Walter Ray's actually had 3 300 shot against him and a 299. The other 300 was by Steve Hoskins. We already mentioned Johnny Petraglia. And the 299 by a young man out of Florida by the name of Brian Davis. So Walter, no stranger to perfection, getting shot against him.
Nice of him to reference you on national TV.
Well, you know, it's always nice for Walter to think of me.
Does he have a great start in this championship match? Yes, he does. Another strike for Norm Duke.
And those of you keeping score at home, that's 13 in a row. You hear Norm asking for tape. That's giving him time, so there's no shot clock violation, to adjust the tape in his thumb hole.
He was doing that just after the warm-up ball, and just prior to the interview we saw on the commercial break.
And if you ever come out to a tournament and watch Norm Duke bowl, he does it constantly.
13th bowler in history to win 20 titles. Did that this year by the numbers this week. 4 more games for Norm Duke. The average slightly higher. Strike percentage relatively close. Same with spare conversion percentage. Wow. Finally, the streak is over. A 4-pin for Norm Duke, and he'll get a healthy round of applause here in Tacoma.
You know, you look at that by the numbers stat, is this ball is going to drift high and leave a 4-pin. The thing that's most impressive was the spare percentage. He's at 90%. Mentally, there's not a better player on the tour. He knows how to manage his game. He knows how to manage his equipment and the area of play on the lane.
Stays perfect. Single pin conversion rate, 48 for 48 this week here in Washington State. Norm had some time to relax over the Christmas break after the TOC. He came close to making the show in Connecticut. Bowled in 1 exhibition in Charleston, South Carolina. Other than that, he said, time with the family. DeVaney, another.
Mike DeVaney's got probably the best nickname I've ever heard, Monkey Boy. Nice. 5-step approach, the cupped wrist at the top. This ball's feeding right, and watch out, because here it comes. The big backhand.
Smash Mouth is the other nickname for Mike DeVaney.
I think I would change the first one if I was Mike, but you know, if he likes it, that's cool.
Just outside San Diego, Escondido, California. Lane 3. Yeah! He loves it. A triple to start the championship match for Mike DeVaney. With his mom, Mona, and girlfriend, Carrie, watching back home.
You've seen him do this all day long. The 6-pin just cut the 10 in half, and he's feeling it. You know, the one thing that really impressed me last night, Dave Ryan, about Mike DeVaney was I remember the first time I interviewed him at the U.S. Open last year, and he was a little cocky and a little arrogant, and then he got his rear end kicked. Last night when I spoke to him, he was much more calm. There was confidence, not cockiness, and you could tell that he's matured, not only mentally, but as a player out on this tour, just gotten a lot smarter and a lot better, and it's showing.
He's now on the Storm Ball team. He told me today what a huge advantage that is because you have a ball rep with you, coaching you, a lot of recommendations on the ball reaction and your layout, and an extra set of eyes, constantly watching your game. It's not just you as a free agent, as they say. Duke, dominant. A triple for DeVaney to start the championship match. Norm Duke has struck in 3 of the first 4 frames, down by 10. It's the title match in Tacoma. The PBA Tour here on ESPN live coverage of the world's best bowlers starts the second half of the season in the Great Northwest, Tacoma, Washington, the Geico Earl Anthony Classic. Randy, prior to today, Mike DeVaney had never won a TV match. He's 1-3 career now, working on 3 strikes, looking for a 4-bagger and a 20-pin lead in the championship match.
As you see him wedge those fingers into that grip, he also uses a Sarge Easter grip. Sarge Easter is the same grip Robert Smith uses. That's where the ring finger is conventional. The middle finger goes into the first crease.
Chris Peters and Rob Glazer, 2 of the 3 PBA co-owners. Mike Slade not here today. We're glad to see Chris and Rob in person, checking out this great event. They've got to see some history with Norm Duke. What a treat.
They got to like what they're seeing. Right now, Mike DeVaney is perfect through 4.
Looking for a 5-bagger, 30-pin lead. You better believe it.
No breathing room. Don't take a breath. Got no room for it.
Wow. A little intensity going on there. You don't intimidate this guy. Say what you want. It's like Brian Voss, Walter Ray, this guy, you know, you don't get into their dome.
Mike DeVaney is trying. Little trash talking against the legendary Norm Duke. That's his answer.
Rack, please. Rack on the left lane.
Re-racking on the left lane. Norm Duke with a strike and cut Mike DeVaney's lead to 10. Quick shout out to my friend Eric DeLoe out in Lewisburg, PA. He's not feeling well. Get well soon, my friend.
Walter Ray Williams Jr. has got himself past Chris Barnes, even though he did lose in the semifinals. Norm Duke climbing the ladder. 3rd now in tour points. The top 8 automatically get to the round of 16, the World Championship Taylor Sportsplex Arena setting. Taylor, Michigan, near Detroit in our World Championship in March.
I asked Norm about that last night. He said, you know, making it to that top 8 for the World Championship's like cheating. He says, you get the bye. He says, I'm a 4 or 5 to 1 favorite to win.
Because of shots like that.
If he doesn't make it into the top 8, he's a 40 to 50 to 1 to win. Now, you want to talk about trash talk? Well, here comes the trash right now in the form of about a 16-pound bowling ball. And there's the guy delivering it.
Duke has a 4-bagger now, a max of 280. 5 straight strikes for DeVaney. Bid for a 6th. On lane 4. All 10 down in the pit again.
Is this the time that Mike DeVaney takes that giant step to the PBA championship, become a PBA title holder? Well, when you carry hits like that, you got to ask yourself, is it my time?
Not to look too far ahead and jinx DeVaney, but he has 4 career 300 games. We just saw one a moment ago with Norm Duke. None this season, though. His last was at a regional in California last year. He had an average under 203 prior TV appearances before today, where he's just taken off. What a start for DeVaney, a 7-bagger.
Could we have another 300 game in the title match? Norm Duke, the only thing that kept him from stringing 6 in a row was a 4-pin. Norm, in my opinion, this is must-strike territory because of what DeVaney's doing. You got to keep the pressure on him. Strike in the 7th and 8th, cut it back to 10, put the pressure back on DeVaney.
Looks for a 5-bagger in the 7th. To be down by 20, yes! The level of excellence is peaking in Tacoma today.
If Norm strikes in the 8th frame, it's extra pressure on Mike DeVaney. Number 1, you got an opponent that's breathing down your neck. Number 2, you're trying to shoot 300. You think these guys show up to play on Sunday?
Do they ever? Almost 95% for Duke, the strike percentage today, well over his average. Within 10 with a strike. Oh, got a break, just leaves the 4-pin up.
It's all right, a spare here. Norm Duke can strike out for 259. Right now, Mike DeVaney's going at a 250 pace. Mike DeVaney goes 9 spare, 9 spare. Anybody's ball game.
59 or 7.
And he's also going for perfection as well.
Back to Norm, 4-pin. He got a big break on that 9-pin, avoiding what would have been a difficult shot on lane 3. So a 259 max for him, but still, it all belongs in the hands now of Mike DeVaney with 7 straight strikes. And Mike told us before this match today, he wants to control everything. He loves being on the offensive. Now, that scenario is coming exactly true for him, because he had an 8-bagger in the mix. Yeah! Oh, yeah!
That puts him into the 260s if he stays clean in the 9th and 10th. This ball gets a little wide, a little into the switch zone, and because of all that power and all those revolutions, those pins have no chance. Front 8.
Randy, in PBA history, we have never had 2 300 games in a TV show. It's possible today, after Duke in the semifinals got his first ever TV 300 game. Now DeVaney with a chance. Looking for 9 in a row. No, sir. 4-pin.
Right now, Mike DeVaney needs to convert this spare and mark in the 10th frame to win his first title. Ball just didn't push far enough to the right. That left lane hooks a little bit more for him. But what a great run. Front 8. Now all Norm Duke can do is simple. Strike out 9th, 10th, 11th, and 12th, and then hope Mike DeVaney has a hiccup on the right lane, which he's gone light on both times, the last 2 shots.
Max numbers. DeVaney in the clear. If he can come through on Randy's formula. Norm of the night. Foundation frame strike. Had to have that.
Now, 2 4-pins Norm's learned, both on the left lane. If Norm strikes out, that's really going to send a message to a guy who's never won his first title and needs a mark. Only a mark, even though he went front 8, his first career title ever. Be a lot going on in that mind of his.
Remember the earlier mind games going on. Don't take a breath. That's what Mike DeVaney told longtime star Norm Duke. Now Norm showing it to you with ESPN instinct, trying to force some pressure. Another.
Don't go anywhere. This isn't over yet.
Count doesn't matter. One more shot. Make him earn it, Norm. You don't want to throw it.
Well, count does matter. If Norm strikes here and gets 9, that'll give him 258. If DeVaney goes 9 whiff, meaning he misses a spare, he'll have 257.
On lane 3. 7-pin. Wiggles and stands.
Mike DeVaney needs 5 pins to win his first title. Do you think Norm wanted that one? What just a phenomenal performance by Norm Duke.
Thank you very much.
Including a 300 game in the semifinals. We're coming here from the Emerald Queen Casino, Tacoma, Washington, the first event of the second half of this PBA Tour season. Dave Ryan, Randy Peterson, our entire crew. Women's Pro Billiards TOC comes your way next here on ESPN. The big story is Mike DeVaney looking for his first ever career title. November 3rd in suburban Chicago. He made a TV show the last time he made a TV. And that does it. He finished 5th that day. He'll finish 1st this day in Tacoma. And he writes his own history.
My friend, you deserve it.
His first ever career title.
There's no better feeling when you've worked as hard as we've worked out here on the tour to get to where Mike DeVaney is. It's just hard to put into words. It just doesn't matter what he was destined to win this tournament. He mowed Walter Ray, and then he shoots 279 at Norm Duke. Try going through those two guys to win your first title.
Unbelievable effort for Mike DeVaney.
Great bowling, Norm. Congratulations. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
He had never finished higher.
I love you, Gary.
Than 3rd.
For you.
Congratulations to his girlfriend Carrie back home as well. For the 3rd time this year, a brand new PBA Tour champion. Patrick Healy, Eugene McCune, and now Mike DeVaney from Escondido, California. A lot of hardware, Mike, for you to take home to SoCal. What sort of things are going through your mind now? You told me a moment ago it was offensive-minded bowling that was a big key for you. Was that your big thrust all week?
In the match play, absolutely. Because, you know, we bowl our 18 games of qualifying, and that's where you have to pace yourself. It's similar to a marathon there, but once you get into the match play, it's all offense, you know. Especially with somebody like Norm Duke or Walter Ray and these kind of bowlers, even Bob Learn, it's if you don't take it to them, they're going to stick it right to you. I mean, that's just the way it is. That's what the mentality out here. So, you know, it's I got to a point now where I got tired of being stuck to me, so I stuck it to them.
Well, congratulations and enjoy this first ever championship. An unbelievable moment for Mike DeVaney. Congratulations to him. Be sure to join us next week in Medford, Oregon for the PBA Medford Open. Coming up next on ESPN, Women's Pro Billiards. This has been a presentation of ESPN, the worldwide leader in sports. For more, log on to ESPN.com. We will see you next week in Medford, Oregon. For the entire crew, my partner Randy Peterson, it's Dave Ryan saying so long from Tacoma. Congratulations going out to Mike DeVaney. He's a winner today.